You're 22, lying on a sagging mattress in a small, concrete-walled apartment in Manila. The air is thick with fried garlic and diesel smoke drifting up from the street 3 stories below. It's 2 p.m., but the curtains are pinned shut with binder clips to block the aggressive sun, though the room is still humid, the heat clinging to your skin like a damp cloth. Outside, jeepneys rattle and street vendors shout. Inside, there's only the low, mechanical hum of a fan that barely stirs the air. Your eyes drift to a water stain on the ceiling, vaguely shaped like a country you'll never visit. You know somehow that today, like every day, will belong not to you, but to something else. Before this, life had a different rhythm. You are 5 years old, sitting on the cool linoleum floor of your grandmother's kitchen. The air smells of steamed rice and laundry soap. Your mother is humming a song you don't know the words to yet, her hands moving with a practiced, gentle speed as she folds clothes. The world is small, bounded by the front gate and the mango tree in the yard. You spend your afternoons chasing shadows or tracing the patterns of ants in the dirt. There is a sense of permanence in the way the sun hits the floor tiles every afternoon at the same angle. You are safe because you do not yet know there is anything to be safe from. By age 8, the simplicity begins to fray at the edges. You see the older boys in the neighborhood, the ones who used to play basketball until the streetlights came on, now standing in huddles at the corner. They don't play anymore. They talk in low voices, their eyes constantly scanning the street. Your father comes home later than he used to, his shirt stained with grease and sweat, his face a mask of exhaustion that he tries to peel off when he looks at you. You hear the adults talking in the kitchen while you're supposed to be asleep. They use words like quota, outsourcing, and the floor. They speak of that place across the bridge, the tall building with the blue glass that stays lit all night. When you ask your mother what happens there, she simply tells you to finish your homework so you don't have to find out. At 10, the shielding becomes more physical. When you walk past the blue building on your way to school, your father grips your hand tighter. He pulls you to the other side of the street. You see the workers spilling out at 6 a.m., their faces gray, their eyes fixed on the ground as if they are afraid the sunlight will burn them. They don't talk to each other. They move like a slow, retreating tide. You notice the way people in the neighborhood treat them, with a mix of pity and a strange, distant fear. They are the cleaners, but they don't carry mops. You pretend not to notice the way the air feels different when you get close to that building. It feels heavy, charged with a static that makes the hair on your arms stand up. By 13, the rumors have names. You hear about the Red Room and the Q. You hear about people who stopped speaking to their families, not out of anger, but out of a sudden hollow emptiness. Your older cousin, who was always the loudest at Sunday dinner, gets a job there. Within 3 months, he stops coming to dinner. When you see him at a funeral a year later, he looks through you as if you are made of glass. Your mother pulls you away when you try to speak to him. The adults are silent now. The rumors have turned into a quiet, accepted reality. Something invisible is moving toward you, and the faster you grow, the closer it gets. The transition is not a choice. It is a mechanical necessity. You are 18 when the family debt reaches a point where the math no longer works. Your father's back has finally given out, and the medication costs more than the rent. There is no dramatic confrontation, no heroic sacrifice. There is only a Tuesday morning where you sit at the kitchen table and your mother pushes a printed flyer toward you. It has the logo of a global tech firm, bright and friendly, promising competitive salary and career growth in a global industry. You both know what it is. You look at her and she looks at the table. You pick up the flyer. The processing is efficient. You are herded into a lobby with 50 other people your age. You are given a number. You are cataloged by your typing speed and your English proficiency. You are assigned to a cluster. You are transferred from the bright, air-conditioned lobby to a windowless basement for orientation. By the time the blue glass building rises on the horizon during your first commute, you've learned two things. Your time is no longer your own, and your eyes are the company's primary resource. Your childhood doesn't end with a graduation or a party. It ends with a signed non-disclosure agreement and a plastic lanyard that feels like a lead weight around your neck. The first thing they take is your name. On the floor, you are a handle, a string of alphanumeric characters tied to a workstation. You are given a uniform, a fleece jacket because the servers require the room to be kept at a biting 60 degrees, regardless of the tropical heat outside. They cut your hair if it's too long, citing hygiene and professional standards. But you realize it's about removing anything that might snag in the machinery of the day. You are taught body control. You are told how to sit, how to keep your hands on the home row, how to blink less frequently to avoid missing a frame. The training is conducted by a man named Elias. He has been there for 3 years, which makes him an elder. His voice is a flat, tonal drone devoid of inflection. He shows you the hierarchy. Top to bottom, the clients in California who set the policy, the site managers who enforce the metrics, the quality assurance leads who find your mistakes, and finally you, the moderator. But none of that really matters because the real rule is the queue. The queue is a god. It is infinite. It does not care if you are tired. It does not care if you are sick. It only cares that it is fed. Elias whispers a warning on the third day. Don't look at the eyes. If you look at the eyes in the videos, you'll start to remember them. Look at the corners. Look at the backgrounds. Just find the violation and click. You realize then that you belong to the system. You are a biological filter, a piece of living software designed to catch the filth so the rest of the world can keep pretending it doesn't exist. Your first shift begins at midnight. The room is a sea of flickering monitors, hundreds of them, casting a pale, sickly glow on the faces of the silent workers. Your supervisor is a woman who hasn't looked up from her tablet in 4 hours. She points you to station 402. The chair is still warm from the person who just left. The first incident happens at 3:14 a.m. You have been clicking through spam and copyright infringement for hours. Your brain is beginning to glaze over. Then, a video pops up. The thumbnail is innocuous, a child playing in a park. You click play. The act that follows is a systematic violation of every human instinct you possess. It lasts 42 seconds. It causes a physical tightening in your chest, a sudden, sharp nausea that makes you want to heave. It fractures the way you perceive the world in a way that can never be mended. You look around the room expecting someone to scream or for the lights to come on or for the police to arrive. But there is only the sound of 100 mice clicking. The next morning, you're expected to go home, eat breakfast, and sleep. You walk past a playground on your way to the apartment. You see a child playing. You don't see a child. You see a potential data point in a violation category. You go home and you don't tell your mother anything. You can't. The words would be a violation of your contract, and more than that, they would be a poison you don't want to share. It continues. The trauma becomes a rhythm. You learn the 12-second rule. That's how long you have to decide if a video depicts a murder or a staged performance. You learn the color of blood rule, how to distinguish between cinematic syrup and the dark, viscous reality of a street fight. You learn the audio mute reflex. Hitting the volume key before the sound of a scream can register in your long-term memory. You learn the peripheral gaze, watching the edge of the screen to identify a weapon without having to process the face of the victim. Numbness is not a choice. It is a survival skill that is framed as a pathology by the company psychologists. They give you resilience training, which consists of breathing exercises and being told to look at pictures of puppies for 5 minutes every 4 hours. It doesn't work. The detachment becomes permanent. You find yourself sitting at dinner with your family, watching your sister laugh, and you feel nothing. You are calculating the probability of her being involved in a safety violation. You are checking the background for prohibited symbols.
Hello?
Hierarchy ignores you as long as your accuracy rating stays above 98%. The site managers walk past you as if you are furniture. The clients in California send down policy updates that change the definition of hate speech every 3 days, and you are expected to memorize them instantly. For almost a year, you work the graveyard shift. You forget what the sun feels like on your skin. You are offered a promotion to senior lead, which means you get to review the mistakes of others. You take it because it pays 50 cents more an hour. Within a week, you realize it just means you have to watch the worst videos twice. The promotion is a trap. It ties you deeper to the floor. The cost compounds in your body. Your eyes are constantly bloodshot, the capillaries broken from the strain of the blue light. You develop a repetitive strain injury in your right wrist that makes it throb in time with your heartbeat. Your sleep is no longer rest. It is a series of vivid, fragmented nightmares that you can't remember but that leave you waking up drenched in sweat. You try to form a relationship with a girl from the graphic violence cluster. Her name is Maya. You meet in the break room, the only place where the air isn't freezing. You try to talk about movies, but you both realize you can't watch movies anymore. You just see the editing cuts and the potential violations. You try to talk about the future, but the future is just a longer version of the queue. The relationship ends when she is fired for her accuracy rating dropping to 92%. She disappears from the building, and you realize you don't even have her phone number. The system destroyed the connection before it could even anchor you. The room goes quiet when you realize you didn't even try to save her. 3 years pass. You are 25, but when you look in the mirror, you see the same gray, hollowed-out look that the workers had when you were 10. You are now the one training the new arrivals. You see the 18-year-olds come in with their bright eyes and their desire to help the internet. You give them the same drone-like instructions Elias gave you. You watch the light go out of their eyes within the first month. It is a mirror effect that makes you want to look away, but you can't. You are the senior now.
Never the center.
You are the one who tells them to look at the corners of the screen. There are moments of humanity that hurt more than the cruelty. A coworker brings in home-cooked food to share. Someone makes a joke that actually makes the cluster laugh for a second. These moments are dangerous. They remind you that you are still a person, and being a person makes the work impossible. To do the job, you have to be an object. When you feel a flash of empathy for a victim on your screen, the dread settles in because you know it will slow down your average handle time. Survival, you've learned, is never dramatic. It's patient. It's the ability to turn yourself off for 8 hours at a time. The trap is total. You cannot leave because your skills are non-transferable. What else can you do with the ability to identify 1,000 different ways a human body can be broken? The financial mechanics are designed to keep you just above the poverty line, but never far enough to save for a way out. The legal structures, the NDAs and the non-competes, ensure that you can't even go to a competitor for a better life. You are geographically constrained to the shadow of the blue glass building. You have a reputation as a cleaner, a title that makes other employers uncomfortable. They think you are damaged, and they are right. Normally, this is where people assume there is a breaking point. They assume you will stand up and scream or lead a strike or find a new path. They don't know why escape is impossible. It's not because the doors are locked. It's because the queue is inside you now. Even when you are home, you are moderating your own thoughts. You are filtering your own memories. You are scanning your own life for violations. You are now 26. You still live in the same apartment, but the water stain on the ceiling has grown. Your wrist is permanently braced in a black nylon splint. Your eyes are permanently dry. You don't go to Sunday dinners anymore because you can't stand the way your mother looks at you, with that same distant pity you used to see directed at the cleaners. Sometimes at 4 a.m. during your break, you think of the mango tree. You think of the cool linoleum floor and the scent of laundry soap. You try to remember the song your mother used to hum, but the melody is drowned out by the phantom audio of 1,000 deleted videos. The memory is there, but it's behind a pane of thick, frosted glass. You can see the shapes, but you can't feel the warmth. Your reality is the flickering screen. Your reality is the 99% accuracy rating. Your reality is the 60-degree room and the black fleece jacket. This is the life structure you inhabit. It is not a story with a climax. It is a process with an infinite duration. You sit back down at station 402. You put on your headset. You move the cursor to the play button. And that has to be enough.